France fell in 6 weeks not because Germany had more tanks, but because Guderian understood speed could replace firepower. Rommel turned supply logistics into offensive weapons. Manstein invented operational art that's still taught at West Point today. German generals didn't just win battles, they rewrote how modern warfare works. This is every commander whose tactical innovations outlived the Reich. Erich von Manstein. Erich von Manstein was not a frontline showman, but a cerebral architect of operational warfare. His influence emerged from the belief that decisive outcomes were achieved not by grinding advances, but by collapsing an enemy's ability to respond. He entered the war as a planner who believed maneuver, timing, and concentration mattered more than sheer force. Manstein's most significant impact came through the operational concept later known as the sickle cut, which emphasized deep armored penetration followed by rapid exploitation. Rather than engaging enemy strength directly, his approach sought to dislocate command structures and isolate entire formations. This method demonstrated that modern armies could be defeated operationally before tactical annihilation occurred. On the Eastern Front, Manstein further refined elastic defense, trading space for time to regain operational initiative. His method showed that withdrawal, when controlled and deliberate, could preserve combat power and create opportunities for counterstroke. This reshaped how defensive warfare was understood in mobile, large-scale conflicts. Heinz Guderian transformed theory into battlefield behavior. While mechanization existed before the war, Guderian insisted that tanks must operate as independent, fast-moving formations rather than as infantry support weapons. His insistence on speed and initiative fundamentally altered land combat. Guderian emphasized continuous movement, radio communication, and decentralized command. Armored units under his influence bypassed resistance instead of eliminating it immediately, trusting follow-on forces to secure rear areas. This approach accelerated collapse, not by destruction, but by overwhelming enemy decision-making. In combat, his formations demonstrated how momentum could replace numerical superiority. Guderian's methods forced adversaries to fight on unfamiliar terms, where reaction time mattered more than preparation. The result was a new model of operational tempo that armies worldwide would study and adapt. Erwin Rommel. Erwin Rommel's influence emerged at the tactical and operational edge of battle. Unlike planners or theorists, Rommel reshaped combat through relentless forward presence and improvisation. His command style emphasized speed, surprise, and direct observation. Rommel consistently pushed reconnaissance, exploitation, and immediate action. He rejected static command, preferring to place himself where decisions could be made instantly. This reduced reaction delays and allowed small advantages to cascade into operational gains. In North Africa, Rommel demonstrated how limited forces could impose disproportionate pressure through maneuver and deception. His tactics showed that audacity and tempo could compensate for logistical weakness, altering how commanders understood initiative in fluid environments. Albert Kesselring. Albert Kesselring changed how air power supported ground warfare. Unlike commanders who treated air forces as separate instruments, Kesselring integrated aviation directly into battlefield decision-making. His approach blurred the boundary between air and land operations. Kesselring emphasized flexible air support, rapid redeployment, and close coordination with ground commanders. Rather than reserving air power for strategic missions alone, he used it to shape local battlefield conditions at critical moments. This allowed German forces to compensate for numerical inferiority. In defensive campaigns, Kesselring demonstrated how air power could delay, disrupt, and exhaust advancing enemies. His methods influenced later doctrines of combined arms, showing that air superiority did not require dominance everywhere, but effectiveness where it mattered most. Walter Model. Walter Model redefined defensive warfare under pressure. Often deployed to collapsing fronts, he specialized in stabilizing situations others considered lost. His approach rejected rigid defensive lines in favor of flexible, localized resistance. Model focused on terrain exploitation, strong points, and rapid counterattacks. Rather than attempting continuous defense, he aimed to disrupt enemy rhythm and force costly engagements. This approach preserved limited forces while inflicting disproportionate delay. His defensive tactics demonstrated that retreat did not equal defeat when managed aggressively. Model's methods influenced how later armies conceptualized defense as an active, dynamic process, rather than a static posture. Kurt Student introduced airborne forces as operational tools rather than novelty units. While airborne troops existed elsewhere, Student integrated them into large-scale planning with decisive intent. His vision treated the vertical dimension as an extension of maneuver warfare. Under Student's influence, airborne operations targeted command nodes, crossings, and infrastructure. These missions aimed to paralyze enemy response rather than hold territory indefinitely. The concept expanded how commanders thought about operational reach. Although costly, these operations demonstrated the potential of vertical envelopment to shape battles before ground forces arrived. Students' innovations influenced post-war airborne doctrine across multiple nations. Karl Dönitz transformed naval combat by redefining how submarines were used in sustained warfare. Rather than employing U-boats as independent raiders, he envisioned them as coordinated striking groups, designed to overwhelm enemy defenses through concentration and timing. His ideas emerged from interwar analysis of convoy warfare and the limitations of single-boat operations. Dönitz developed the Wolfpack tactic, in which submarines shadowed convoys and attacked simultaneously under centralized direction. This method exploited weaknesses in escort coverage and forced the enemy to react defensively across vast ocean spaces. The emphasis shifted from individual success to collective operational effect. His approach altered the character of the Battle of the Atlantic, turning it into a contest of detection, coordination, and endurance. Dönitz's tactics demonstrated that control of sea lines depended as much on information and coordination as on firepower, reshaping modern concepts of naval and undersea warfare. Wolfram von Richthofen fundamentally altered how air power was applied on the battlefield by transforming it into a precise tactical instrument rather than a distant supporting arm. Trained as both an engineer and commander, he viewed aircraft as tools for shaping ground combat in real time. His influence lay in synchronization, not spectacle. Richthofen emphasized close air support tightly coordinated with advancing ground forces. Dive bombers and tactical aircraft were used to break strong points, disrupt movement, and paralyze enemy defenses at decisive moments. Airstrikes were planned around ground maneuver, not independent air objectives. This integration changed the tempo of battle by collapsing resistance before it could fully form. Richthofen's methods demonstrated that air power, when precisely coordinated, could function as mobile artillery on a battlefield scale. His approach became a foundational model for modern joint air-ground doctrine. The German generals who changed battlefield tactics did so by challenging assumptions about movement, command, and time. Their influence was not uniform nor always successful, but it consistently pushed warfare away from rigid structures and toward fluid decision-making. Collectively, their methods emphasized initiative over obedience, maneuver over attrition, and disruption over destruction. These ideas thrived in environments where speed and coordination could unbalance stronger opponents. They also exposed vulnerabilities when logistics, resources, and strategic alignment failed. The legacy of these commanders lies not in victory or defeat, but in transformation. Modern warfare absorbed their lessons, adapted their errors, and institutionalized their insights. The battlefield they reshaped continues to reflect the enduring power of ideas applied under fire.